Hello, my little draconic wolfkins. I hope that you're all doing well. If you guys like what you see and hear, please like, subscribe, and turn on that bell to get notified. And if you guys want to send me your own horror stories, my email will be in the description below. Alright, let's get into it. This happened in 2023, and I still have the occasional nightmare about it. I work in a sterile service cleaning used surgical instruments for doctors and getting them back to the operating theaters. Okay. So, working in the hospitals are always kind of creepy anyways, so one night near the end of my shift, around 5 to 6 p.m., I was taking a trolley full of instruments to a ward on the other side of the hospital. Oh god, no. Why do I feel like I know where this is going? I don't, but I feel like I do. I don't like it, honestly. As I got about a quarter of the way there, I started to hear noise. It wasn't completely noticeable. I think at first I thought it was the wind coming through the cracks of the doors. I mean, that makes sense. It could also be someone's breathing, I guess, or I don't know. But I think wind or the vents coming, clicking on and off could be that, I guess, too. I don't know. It was an easy tune out, and I probably would have forgotten about it if I stayed at that distance, but then I started getting closer, and it was getting harder to ignore. No. No. Where is this fucking going? So after I delivered the trolley, I decided to walk further through the hospital to see where the noise was coming from. Yeah, no, I wouldn't, honestly, because fuck that shit, man. My shift was basically over, so it didn't matter if it took me a little longer to get back. I mean, I know that some places are kind of stingy with overtime, so I wouldn't recommend doing it. So, unless your boss just doesn't give a shit and be like, okay, whatever, dude, you know? I saw a couple nurses rushing in and out of a room at the end of the corridor where the sound was coming from. At this point, from the distance I was standing, it sounded like a broken, high-pitched drill. Ugh. I hate that noise, and I don't even know what a high-pitched, broken drill sounds like, but it does not sound like it could be a fun sound, honestly. Like, I know my model doesn't really do facial expressions all that good, but I am scrunching my nose at the sound of that, honestly. One nurse was even covering her ears like she couldn't bear listening to it any longer. Then as I was about 20 or 30 feet away, one nurse swung open the door directly behind me, and my stomach felt like it dropped to my feet. Oh god. Oh god. I hate that sinking feeling, honestly. There was a malnourished man in a bed with his mouth uncomfortably wide open, screaming. He was surrounded by doctors, and his face looked almost dark blue. We locked eyes for what felt like an entire minute. Well, I'm sure it felt like an entire minute, but I'm sure it was only like maybe all of 10 to 15 seconds. But sometimes that feels like goddamn eternity. Hell, even just waiting for the cops to get to your house when there's a break-in or something feels like a forever, you know? As soon as I discovered the source of the noise, it's like the context of the situation changed the way I perceived the sound altogether. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because, like, sometimes you just sit there for, like, how the hell is that thing making that kind of noise? It does not make any sense. The pitch of his scream never changed. The volume never got quieter. He never gasped for air. He just kept screaming. I've dreamt about this so many times at this point that I'm not even sure if his face was as scary as I remembered it, but I swear I could see the veins popping out of his forehead. Oh God, when you see veins popping out of anyone's forehead or arms or anything like that, it's either they're fucking ripped, like, you know, built, or they're pissed, or they're screaming their head off. It's one of those things, or a combination of all of them. What other things cause veins to pop out like that, other than that? Fuck, I don't even know. Anyways, I don't know if it was a surgery that went wrong, if his amnesia wore off too early, or if the guy was just batshit crazy, but it makes no sense how he's able to scream out in pain for that long. It takes me 5 minutes to deliver trolleys to that ward, and I heard that noise the entire time. I can see that him being batshit crazy, but it also makes sense if a surgery did go wrong or if the amnesia wore off too early. Hell, it could be all three. I don't know, but it really does. Does it really take you that long to deliver trolleys from ward to ward? I guess it depends on how big the hospital is, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure there's a rationalized. I'm sure there was ways to rationalize it, like maybe the sound wasn't coming from the man, and it just seemed that way because he had his mouth open in such a position that it looked that way. It could be possible, I guess. Or maybe it was a weird audio phenomenon where the long, empty hospital corridors bounced the sound of his screams back and forth so it only appeared as though he never stopped to catch his breath. I just prefer not to think about it. I mean, it could be possible that it was some weird audio phenomenon, but I'm not sure if that's possible or not, or if it's even logical for that to happen in a hospital. Like, I know in caves or other places where sound bounces off, yes. I'm not sure about hospitals, though, but leave your comments down below, and what do you think was going on